Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, host of a Totally Turtle Sports and Gaming YouTube channel, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network.
Recording has started. In a world of capes and lunatics, of gods and monsters, there are threats so great no single hero can have confronted alone. In those moments shall rise a team of Avengers. And this is Avengers Declassified.
Who are you?
Good evening, listeners. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esther. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pits,
Phil Podcast Perich.
Welcome, podcast. Oh, my goodness. So tonight's episode, what is it? Dark Reign, Black Panther, 1 through 6 from 2009.
Yes.
And, man, this is a good set of books, especially coming into what we have not seen yet.
Wakanda Forever, yes.
Wakanda Forever, because this is the story of Shuri becoming chosen as the Black Panther. But obviously, as much as this is likely an echo of what we will see in that film, which we have not seen yet, this likely cannot be what the film is because, of course, this book contains one person who we are fairly certain is not in Wakanda Forever. Well, actually, there's two people we're certain are not in Wakanda Forever, but one specifically.
Oh, yeah.
That could be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe like the basic principle where it's just going to be like, oh, you know, in the movie, Namor's going to think probably, you know, I'm sure that T'Challa, the world finds out T'Challa's dead, and Namor's going to think, oh, hey, they're defenseless. They have no king.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case, because I do think that he is coming to Wakanda to seek parley. But, you know, well, so, because, I mean, obviously we only know so much about, and so we'll just get a little off track here, because we haven't seen it yet. But I think that his coming to Wakanda has something to do with the idea that, you know, the rest of the world is awakening to the threats of superhuman nations. You know, arguably this new arms race, that there are Atlanteans with, you know, old mutants and Wakanda with super tech, and suddenly the rest of the world is feeling a little behind the eight ball suddenly. Like suddenly nuclear bombs aren't as impressive as they used to be, which has got to be a little disheartening because we were really impressed by those. Now you got flying mutants with wings on their feet. Man, that don't seem fair. But yeah, but I there's a part of me that feels that he is coming to Wakanda to seek, if not an ally, at least an associate in the situation as it presents itself. But you know, because he's asking, is Wakanda an ally or an enemy? And of course, the Queen is like, you know, not having that because she's feeling all these other people trying to come at Wakanda now, thinking that they're weak. And you know, but I do think that this is. I do feel that there are other people manipulating the situation behind the scenes, and that's what leads to the Wakandan Atlantean, or sorry, Wakandan what is it? It's Takul. What they're calling Atlantis in this.
I don't remember what they changed it to.
Khan, because that's what they call him, the winged serpent. It's Talokan, I think. That Talokan versus Wakanda to sort of push that fight, which I think is, again, like I said, the idea of the powers that be trying to manipulate things. And to lead into this story we're going to talk about, this multi-level manipulation is something of what we're talking about here, because we see, when we open it, it is basically the idea that the Black Panther is severely injured after his meeting, that the Quinjet crashes, he's all burnt up, everybody's dead, it's a bad day, and, that is obviously not good, but because of what has happened now, this instigates the rest of the story. We do get, in the ensuing issues, sort of a flashback, because it is told and I think it is told very nicely, between flashbacks and the current story, what has happened, because we get it and in this direct line of what has happened. T'Challa is near death. They have to choose a new Black Panther. Aurora, Storm becomes the queen. And actually, I also like the fact that it opens up with her doing the whole queenly visit the local village, do the wave, but also make sure that funds are going to the rural settlements to make sure that we're sharing the wealth of Wakanda with all of its people, not just those within the cities. Very important that you have that interconnectivity in your society, because otherwise you wind up with people that are out in the sticks who both feel discriminated against and poorly educated, that leads them to violence against the state. So, pro tip for any countries dealing with that right now. Go back and read the comic books. They'll give you all the answers to how to run a country, because no one's smarter than comic book writers. Okay. Getting back to our story.
The first flashback, we see T'Challa meet with Namor. And basically, this is Dark Reign, so he's like, hey, why don't you join this cabal? And, Doom and Osborn and T'Challa's like, I didn't join the Illuminati. Why would I join this group?
Yeah, and, at once Namor is both completely wrong and stupid for asking, but also completely right. Because it's like, yeah, I know you didn't join the trustworthy people who screwed up horribly, but now you have a chance to actually help us both from having these idiots blow the whole planet up. We can be members of the council dealing with these idiots. But of course, unfortunately, Phil, who is one of the idiots on this council?
Oh, the one we see later? Our favorite college dropout, Dr. Doom.
He is so bad at everything he does. I sometimes wonder how he's been able to conquer Latveria. I mean, it is honestly, I get the feeling the Latverian people are mostly like, you know what, I don't care. There's never been a good Baron. All royalists are scum. I can only move forward, because that's the only way you can survive in this world. And I honestly believe that is 100% the view of the average Latverian. There's no pretense of democracy. There's no question that anyone cares what you think. Revolutions usually wind up with everyone dying horribly, and it's not like there's another power outside of Latveria that is going to stop them. And that is honestly the saddest part about Latveria. But they do have a pool that goes all the way to the ocean for Namor to visit in, because we do see that, and I knew that was Latveria. I was a little confused when we first see the flashback, when we see Namor showing up. It's like, wait, since when does Namor have a Bavarian castle? And is being introduced in this way? It's like everything is so nice in this, and it's like, but none of this makes any sense. Not from the character's perspective or history or the like. But yeah, so obviously T'Challa rejects Namor's offer, if you will. And honestly, part of me wonders is this when we first start? Because obviously this is before AVX, but this is sort of like where they're going to start like really coming into blows with each other. This is the first time, I think. Because as they greet each other as brothers,
Mm-hmm.
fellow Avengers. And now it's like, we are also kings of precarious nations who need to deal with the world in which we live. And the world in which we live is not always a good place to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is right after the first secret invasion, because Namor even mentioned something like, "Oh, our former allies are like, weak at this point." And T'Challa's like, "You know what? The Skrulls, just came not too long ago and said they were going to like wipe Wakanda from the map." And he's like, "Yeah, made some widows and orphans that day." So,
yeah, I mean, and really, he did, and that is the idea that and that is really the thing. I mean, not for nothing. If we jump ahead a few years, even the freaking Phoenix Force could not destroy Wakanda.
Mm-mm.
It's in some political turmoil, to be fair enough. Most landlocked countries that get hit by tsunamis often have some political turmoil later. But, it is blessed by Bast. And that is, of course, what we get to at the core of this. And that was what I was referencing earlier about like characters that we see in here who will absolutely not be in Wakanda Forever, coming out this week, already out as we're speaking. I was referencing Aurora, Queen of Wakanda, because obviously I don't think they're ready to introduce Storm, although I could be mistaken on that. If you're going to introduce anyone in this, it would be Storm, but you also have Morlun in this. And I find that Morlun being in this is it is at once the most interesting, in just the sense that Morlun is eating non-spider totems, because we later learned that that's a very big no-no. This was before Across the Spider-Verse, or whatever. What was that one called, where you find out all the other Immortals?
Was that Spider-Geddon, or was that
it was
Spider-Verse? I don't know, yeah.
It was one of the many Spider-Dulios. And I guess right now, apparently, now Morlun's all like cool with Spider-Man, so...
Well, they have a common enemy in the current comic, but yeah.
Yeah. Did I read that panel right? That like Spider-May ate the babies or something like that?
I guess, because a lot of the spider people have been possessed now by something, so... Yeah.
That's a little messed up, man. Because I remember that was so sweet. It's like, oh, Spider-May will take hold of the Morlun babies and raise them in a little funny sitcom of, Totemeter babies. No, that is apparently not the ending they have written for this now. Moving right along. Yeah, Morlun's here. Don't like them doing M'Baku so dirty. I know M'Baku at this point in history is not the M'Baku we've come to know and love from the MCU. But it's like, And this opens up that question. Like, is that his status in comics now? Is he just been eaten by Morlun? I don't think I've seen him since. So now I'm like, oh wow, was that just the end of that character?
I'm trying to remember if he's alive. He might be in space because there is that like colony of like Wakandans who went into space many a year ago, and T'Challa discovered them not too long ago. I don't know.
I don't know. But it's disappointing to me, but, I hope they find a way to bring back M'Baku in the books, because that's one of the things I'm most excited for about Wakanda Forever, is how they have given M'Baku this great character arc and made him be not just, the gorilla man or the Man-Ape villain, but now actually a real character and a real king among his people, which they even reference in this, which is that, he is, reaching out to the tribes of Wakanda to let them know about Morloon's coming. We do see that Morloon was resurrected by the people with the alligator totem, and that was clearly a bad choice on their part, because they all got eaten first. Why do you resurrect the great monster that eats totems when you yourself are a totem?
I don't know. There's always those fools who think they're going to be richly rewarded for unleashing the killer. The killer's going to, reward them for setting it free.
Yeah, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, the whole thing about genies giving you 3 wishes, those are either monkey's paw wishes, where it's always going to kick you in the butt, or it's like, oh no, this is just a super nice genie. It's like, the idea that you have any power over the monster you unleashed, that's kind of a silly notion,
Mm-hmm.
The problem with living weapons is, Phil, they get up and they decide who they're going to shoot.
Exactly.
That's the problem. Anyway, so Morloon is coming to Wakanda, is gonna kill everyone. Meanwhile, good old Shuri's been going through all of her trials of the Black Panther, and she's like, "Yeah, I can do all this. I've been walking on hot coal since I was a teenager, and climbing rocks. What is that?" It's like, "Oh, okay, I gotta respect that. Okay, I gotta show I'm strong. And then she's got to get the heart-shaped herb from the Sleeping Panther pit, which arguably, man, I think that's a better place to grow your heart-shaped herbs, quite frankly. I don't think Killmonger would have been quite so active in destroying them if there were a bunch of Black Panthers sleeping all around the herb. So, just going to throw that out there. Maybe that's a better system.
And you would think they would grow better out in, the fresh air and sunshine, don't you, rather than, in a cave? I mean, unless they're,
I don't know that. I don't really know the photosynthetic life cycle of heart-shaped herbs. I imagine that it made for a better story in the not 616 MCU. Moving right along. So Shuri has to face Bast, who of course is a White Panther, because she's all cool like that. And, Shuri's got the hubris. You can't have the hubris when you face a god, Phil.
Nope.
It's just the first rule. It is the devil's favorite sin is hubris, because when you think you're better, that's usually when you show you're not. And whereas normally when Bast rejects you, you die, Shuri actually continues to live, because there is a 6-dimensional chess game currently being played by what is his name? So not Zuri, but Zavazi.
Oh,
the witch doctor,
mm-hmm.
who has sent Storm into the land of the dead to retrieve T'Challa.
Yep.
And man, I do love death in this. This is a great death. I really wish they'd drawn death as Crackers the Clown, because you get that this is all a gag, right? From it's like you're gonna fight me to survive. I'm an esoteric concept. You can fight, but you've chosen your mortal forms. Those can't run forever, and it's just, but it is because it does all wind up as a stalling tactic. And there's a part of me that wonders, all the pieces fall into place with no one ever actually communicating to the others. And I find that very fascinating. And just the idea that they do the magical, because of course Morloon comes in when Shuri runs from him. So they do the fight, they do the thing. She runs, a couple of guys, City Boy and Country Boy both die, which is sad, because it's like, oh man, they had like a moment of like character and connection, and nope, now they're dead. But you see Zawari bite the head off a chicken and breathe fire at Morlun, which sends him to the underworld. And then all of a sudden, this is like, oh, a charcuterie plate. I did not know you were going to send out a charcuterie plate. Okay, you two can leave.
Yep. No one has to say.
I got charcuterie. I got 10,000 souls yearning to breathe free, and that looks tasty.
Oof.
Because of course, and again, like Morlun's like, oh, you can't hurt me. I am Morlun. It's like, dude, you're a Spider-Man villain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we just look? Okay, I am the living embodiment of death. Unless you are the Beyonder, I don't think you're up for this match. I don't think fighting Spider-Man is going to be the resume line you think it is in this particular battle. Now, of course, Morlun comes back, because it's a revolving door, but still, it's like, oh, Morlun, you're gonna fight death? Really? Really? You saw that as a good option?
I mean, I don't know if he had any other option at that point.
I guess so. I mean, I can see your perspective on it, Philip. But then we get to the end, and T'Challa's alive, and Shuri is now fully the Black Panther because, yes, she put her own self at risk to save everything because, that's how you be cool. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I appreciate that just as a concept. And, yeah. So, I mean, that's the end of that story. Any thoughts you want to throw in on this? I mean, I loved the story. It was a beautiful read.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. I mean, I don't think I'd read these before. Yeah, I really enjoyed this story.
Yeah. I did read them when they came out, but actually this is an even different one than I thought it was, because I thought it was going to be the Vibranium heist storyline. But this is actually even better. And actually, I think maybe the next 6 are the Vibranium heist storyline.
Maybe.
Which is also really good. So, I mean, everything about this is really good how it plays out, and I really appreciate it. Philip, did you read this week's Black Panther?
Yes, I did. I
figured we should talk about that, definitely.
Of course, yeah.
This, I liked this issue. It's a very enjoyable one, but Phil, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's a one-shot, Black Panther Unconquered. It's
a one-shot?
I believe so. I mean...
Because they kind of seem to set up, at least 6 more issues.
I know, that's what I was thinking, but it doesn't say anything about, the next issue. You go to the last page, all it talks about is the next issue of the regular Black Panther series and the Wakanda anthology series that's going on right now, so... I mean, unless they're going to do something else at another point in time. Or unless they're setting something up for the regular book. I don't know.
You know what? Because you know who we see at the end of this book? Reed Richards and Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, I'll look into this and I'll look into that. So maybe we're going to get those other... and I hate when they do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can you just give us a clear line?
Tell us where
this is the next book to buy. Tell them to pull this book for you. It's like, don't make us guess.
Or I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where it's just like, oh yeah, next part will be coming in 2023.
That's not that far away.
No.
But, as it stands, it's I like the story. I like the idea of Archon and his, oh man, I feel very oppressed, in making them Germanic, because we're not all Germans are racist monsters like that, obsessed with mysticism. I mean, many of us are, but oh goodness, yeah. No, it's honestly, it's bad, and they deserve to be bad. They're Nazis, and it's okay to hate Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, what is there, like 7 mystical weapons, and T'Challa fights the guy who finds one of them. So yeah, kids, we still got 6 mystical things we can.
I know, and these are brand new mystical weapons. Although these are, what's interesting is these are mystical weapons that can kill gods, but that are apparently fairly breakable. So I guess that's good, because the mystic sword of Bastet can cut the thing that killed her once. Because obviously, I guess you get killed once, you say, well, I should have a better sword next time, shouldn't I? I'll make it look like a lightning bolt, because that'll be cool. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting it is interesting in the construct that there are these 7 mystic artifacts, that these are the items that have killed gods, and that anytime, but that if you gain all 7, you'll gain some superpower, but if you just have one, you can kill any god you want.
Infinity Gauntlet.
Well, yeah. Well, what's interesting? Well, because this is actually kind of cooler, because it's not just an Infinity Gauntlet. It's just like a bunch of. It's like any one of these will do the trick.
Yeah.
But if you could get a bunch of them, that's even better.
Yeah.
Because like all the Infinity Stones, like they only do like one thing, but these all just kill gods. You got your Necro swords, you got the speary thingy, and because you always got to have a spear. I want one that's just like a gun. I'm really looking forward to the one that this is just the gun that shoots. This is how we took out the Aztec deities. Just gunpowder and steel. It's not pretty, but it works. Yeah, I know that was awful what I just said, but that's okay. I'm trying to look at these things in the horribleness of human history.
Yes.
Because human history is historically awful. That much I think we can agree on. But they do defeat the guy, and he goes to jail. And I think a point in this that we're supposed to take on this is that T'Challa resists the urge to just, slit him up the middle. And you definitely get the impression here that Bast wanted him to slit him up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Stop this right now. And then T'Challa says no. And for 2 very good reasons. 1, because we have to administer justice. But 2, if we kill him, he can't tell us nothing.
Yeah.
We can actually make this guy tell us everything he knows, because we're probably going to break him fairly easily. At least that's his theory. But it is an interesting book, to say the least. Do you have any thoughts on that, Phil?
No, like I said, I would assume. Well, again, kids, if you want, it's a nice self-contained story, but I could see this popping up because we have 6 more mystic weapons. So I'm sure. I would assume somewhere in 2023 they're going to be like, "Hey, remember Black Panther Unconquered? Well, here's where the next part. Whether the Black Panther has anything to do with it or not, it's going to be like, here's the next part."
Yeah. Okay. I wanted you to talk about that book, but I talked most about it. Do you have a book you want to throw out, Phil?
Did you read Avengers 62?
Of course I read Avengers.
Sure you did. Yes.
Yeah. I was good this week. I read all my books.
Oh, nice.
Well, except for the books that I that are not Avengers related that we can talk about on Sunday.
We got the Sorcerer Supreme of the Prehistoric Age.
Yeah, Agamotto.
Oh yes, Agamotto.
I'm going to be honest with you. I liked him better when he was a cosmic couch potato caterpillar. It was brief. It was just one time. And honestly, at this point in history, and honestly with this origin, I can absolutely see him, at some point wanting to just be a cosmic couch potato, watching all timelines, smoking his pipe. But anyway, what else happens this issue, Phil?
Well, we see him trying to put the old band back together, the Prehistoric Avengers. We see him getting in Mephisto's face. That petty Mephisto. How many times have you gotten to spoil my plans? What do you say? It's like 300. Oh, 312, but who's counting?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like they are fighting. And they use this reference of 616 in this.
Yep.
Which I do find interesting, because there is this implication in this that someone else is doing the counting. Like, you're Earth 616, but you're also the prehistoric Avengers before numbers have been codified as an idea. It's like, what does that mean when you say you are the Universe 616? I like Moon Knight in this.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know how Ray will feel about Neanderthal Moon Knight. I like him. I will say I like him. I do like him a little better than Starbrand. Because I do feel like Starbrand is a bit too Hulkish.
Yeah.
Like, I think those should be two separate superheroes, but I do understand what the manufacture of that is, and I would really love it if there were some other plot line they can give to make, why Starbrand's and the Hulk are the strongest ones there are. Like, maybe, like, it infused all the radioactive material in the planet, or something like that, full of gamma rays, Odin comes off very poorly in this, as usual. And, man, if he flirts with Echo, I'm not going to be cool with it.
I don't know. He might be all off of Phoenix's, because he's like, I'll come back. He's like, get away from that. Shout in his thunder, but he's like, but keep her away from me. I guess meaning, yeah.
Well, that is the big moment. That here is where the million BC Avengers meet the modern Avengers. So that's cool.
Yeah, because we're starting we're going to get to the end of Jason Aaron's run. Yeah, I think Avengers and Avengers Forever are going to cross over, and we're going to get a big.
I got to see that Army of Caps, man, with Gorilla Cap.
Yep.
I'm excited for that myself.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of Captain America's film.
Oh yes, Sentinel of Liberty #6 was that. Yep.
Man,
the old trope, Bucky. The villains want me for part of their team, but I can take them down from the inside.
I mean, he's not wrong.
If you can pull it off,
I mean, that's always, that is where it gets complex. Because as you work through it, man, it is just this idea that clearly the revolution was not seen, as equal to the others, especially when they talk about that Prussian. We'll get to that in a minute, because we get the original fight, and man, has to be said, this is Steve with a bullet in his arm the whole time he's fighting Bucky. And some beautiful artwork in this, I don't know, man. You got to talk about it a little bit here, because I am just.
Yeah, no, I mean, the art is great on this. But yeah, a lot of it is just those two going at it. He shoots Steve in the shoulder, and Steve's like, no, I'm not buying this. You still knew enough to shoot me in the shoulder, and he's like, don't even think, even with a bad shoulder, that I can't drag you home and stuff. So yeah, it's them fighting. Steve just wants to drag Bucky home, but. What about that scene at the end? Kind of like the reverse of when Bucky fell off that bomb during World War II, and that he's holding on to Steve with his cyborg arm, and he just detaches it and lets Steve fall.
Yeah, Steve survives though, and then apparently he's got a backup arm. Always good to keep a backup, I suppose. And then he goes and takes his seat at the council as the new revolution.
Yeah, you got a new suit. You got a cape.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see the secret code?
I did. I saw the. I saw that. Yeah.
And so that we get that the key is in, but that there's other codes that we now have to look for, Philip.
It's 13 coded messages have been released prior to this issue. Yes.
Yes. Although next issue is Captain America Winter Soldier Special 1 out next week.
Ooh.
It's a good thing I read the email from my comic book guy, because otherwise I would not have known it was coming out. And I said, hold this one, and there was one other I told him to hold for me. But yeah, it's just like, sometimes, like, it's like Marvel doesn't even want you to buy the books. It's like, oh, no, here's another book. Here's another book. Hey. Quit juggling, man. Not all of us have enough time to go through and leisurely peruse the books that came out.
Exactly.
You know, some of us we gotta know. We need advance warning. Okay, everyone. So you know, here's all the books that are coming out. These are the ones that are connecting to new things. These are where we're trying something new and exciting. Maybe we want to read those. And this is where we're just continuing on the thing. If you like these books, probably already have them pulled. You know, don't make us work so hard for it, Marvel. Okay, you want to talk damage control?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not really Avengers. I mean, my other two are damage control are fantastic.
I was going to say, we could do both of them if you want.
Okay, well, damage control. I loved the Arm & Hammer episode of the original Damage Control. And he is so bad at being a supervillain. Our good friend, Eugene Strausser. Oh, Eugene.
You just talk him into being a supervillain very easily.
That's the thing. It's like, I get the feeling it's not even so much that he wants to be a supervillain. He's a very sad man who just wants to matter and just like completely overlooks all reality. Although I gotta give him credit, man. Everyone, like all the other supervillains, are like, oh yeah, hey Strausser, how you been? But like, you know, going to visit the wrecking crew in prison, not the flex you think it is. You know, I mean, really. You know, and then they go to the Rhino versus Juggernaut fight. I mean, granted, Rhino has fought the Hulk a few times, but I've never thought of the Rhino as a Juggernaut level villain. And we see that the Hood kicks him out, and then we get a nice little montage of MODOK and the leader and Red Skull. And Wilson Fisk, a legitimate businessman. Why would you ask me about supervillainry?
No.
You foolish people. I like the Madam Mask thing. It's like, yeah, it makes dating hard, but you know what? Hey, isn't dating hard for anyone? Have a green goblin, not a golden goblin in this. So.
I always like, is that my glider?
Yeah, well, you know. Hey, it just takes that one incident, you know, that one mention. And then Eugene turns himself into a giant slug. And who's there but the slug to say, hey, that name's taken?
No.
Not anymore. Anyway, we're going to move good old Gus. We have to find out what Gus's whole thing is, why we have to find a job for him. But we have the perfect place for him in damage control next issue. Apparently dealing with Sentinels. So maybe he's with the AI division. Oy vey, Philip.
Yeah, it must be a lot of robots. Yeah, because they had a whole list. Machine Man, Jocasta, Sentry, 459, Test 1, and Sentinels galore. So.
Well, there we go. Fantastic Four #1, the new round.
Yeah, what did you think of this? Because, this was a big Ben Grimm story.
I mean, it's a Groundhog Day story. It's fun, you know? It's sweet. We had to teach someone how to grow beyond their own, you know, foolish limitations. Live a full life and die sadly.
I don't know if it's the first couple, but I did see an interview with the writer who was basically saying, yeah, I think at least the first couple are going to be very Twilight Zone-ish like this one.
Yeah, and then we get that apparently. Oh God. Reed put half of them. Well, not even really half.
Couple blocks.
A couple blocks in the negative zone.
There's a crater. We know that, and we still have no explanation about Peter Parker's crater, and we now Reed Richards has one. So.
Everybody's got a crater this week. You know, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that storytelling plot device.
Yeah.
I will be honest with you.
Uh-oh, they did something bad.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look at this thing that we're
gonna make you wait for.
Unless they do a DC and just say, now there's a new golden age, and Huntress was a part of it. You know, it's an interesting concept. I'm hoping that the two craters relate, because that would be the most smart thing. But what was Peter's crater in the middle of Manhattan? Or
no, it was in Pennsylvania somewhere. Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. So and they still haven't 13 issues in. They haven't explained what did Peter do. That's been the big mystery hanging. What did Peter do?
What did Peter do? What did Reed do?
Yeah.
But the thing is, Phil, Peter Parker did something that caused a massive crater. Oh, Reed Richards did something that caused a massive crater. I can't imagine these two facts are in any way related.
I hope
I wonder what's going to happen in Iron Man next week. What a massive crater!
I mean, I wish they were related, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, different writers.
Oh, they got fell up. Have you just started reading the comic book art form? Yes, they are definitely all related. They are definitely all going to be related. And, because not for nothing, remember, the comic books aren't the movies. They don't have to get Avi Arad's approval. Although they didn't actually get Avi Arad's approval to do the new Spider-Man 4 because, as it turns out, he's mad that Sony signed another deal with Marvel to do 4. But, he'll get his money. He's happy. He's just mad because he realizes that just being the owner of the property doesn't actually give you ownership. Or actually, I don't even think he has ownership. He just has, producer credit in perpetuity, which means they have to give him, a certain percentage on everything they do. But he, has no physical say, which, honestly, probably for the best.
No.
Yeah. So, no, I am certain that all the craters we've seen will be related. Most likely going back to the original Pittsburgh incident in was it the New Universe? Since we've gotten so much with Starbrand of late, that this is about how the Starbrand intersects in these spots and what happens when everything goes into a white event. And now they're all between the pages. I don't know, Phil. Any final thoughts on the comics and Avengers stories we've heard this week?
No, can't wait to read more, and I can't wait to see Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I'm going to see it tomorrow. So
yes, me as well. And then again on Sunday with the kid and granddad.
Nice.
So it'll be I always try to do it at least twice. Once just for me, once with family.
I think it's another long one. Did I see 2 hours 41 minutes or something like that?
I don't know. I'll try not to drink too much beforehand. Can't make any promises. But yeah, Philip, if people would like to talk to us about Wakanda Forever, have their voices heard, have their emails read, how can they find us?
I can always email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can always reach out on all the social medias. Avengers Declassified's on Facebook and Twitter. All of our shows are. Heck, you can comment on our YouTube channels, our videos on our YouTube channel. Subscribe there. And help support us on Patreon, merchandise, and we just have a Cash App link if you just want to send money.
Make it rain. And of course, you can always write to me in the old-fashioned email way. Also, buy stuff.
Yeah, that's what I said. Merch.
Okay, but you didn't do a whole... Look at the beautiful merch.
Oh.
You have to do the display.
Anyway. Gotta whip it out.
We apologize. Phil failed the spokesmodel portion of Star Search.
That's right.
Remember the spokesmodel portion of Star Search? No one does. Only I. But that was where you would be a person who would gesture and introduce things, much like I do today, but in a beautiful red sequin dress, which sadly I do not have. All right, moving right along. Hey, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did, you can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Likewise, you can follow me on, some platform where I could purchase a blue check at a low cost. And if I would, it would be @CharlieEsser. That's CharlieEsser. Yes, SCR. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Miles. All right, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and listeners, you have come to the end of another episode of Avengers Declassified. Retain your knowledge, because this podcast will self-destruct eventually. I am looking forward to Wakanda Forever.
So am I.
Can't wait to see what Shuri does.
Definitely going to sit through the credits.
At least two pauses.